the shadow entity writhed, a manifestation of pure, corrupted darkness, tearing through the very fabric of existence. It sought the spark, the primordial essence, with a hunger that had slumbered for eons. The predator, for all its cosmic might, could only watch as its desperate gamble fractured reality. It had amplified a dying crystalline fragment, coaxing a new, imperfect titan into being a desperate echo of creation, tasked with a suicidal pursuit. This nascent entity, born of desperation and flawed light, now hurtled into the unknown, a fragile shield against the encroaching abyss. The shadow's tendrils stretched, seeking the spark across dimensions, its every movement a whisper of unmaking. The fluid realm, once a sanctuary of shifting existence, now trembled with the intrusion of primal fear. Here, where form was suggestion and thought was reality, the spark had sought solace. But solace was a fleeting dream. The shadow entity, a vortex of despair, ripped through the veil, its alien form a blasphemy against the fluid grace of this new existence. The spark, sensing the imminent doom, recoiled, its very essence flickering. It was no longer a beacon of creation, but a hunted whisper in a realm of endless possibility. The crystalline titan, a jagged shard of desperate hope, crashed into this ethereal plane, its form unstable, its purpose clear: intercept the shadow, protect the spark. It moved with a raw, unrefined power, a stark contrast to the shadow's ancient, insidious grace. The predator, observing from the fractured edges of reality, felt a dread it had never known. This was not a battle for dominance, but a struggle for the very soul of existence. The shadow entity lunged, its form coalescing into a horrifying maw, intent on devouring not just the spark, but the very concept of light. The crystalline titan met the onslaught, a defiant roar echoing across the fluid plains. But its power was raw, untamed, a wild storm against a focused, malevolent storm. The spark, witnessing this desperate struggle, felt a new understanding dawn. It was not merely a target, but a catalyst. Its existence, its very nature, was the prize, the battleground. The shadow entity's true goal was not destruction, but assimilation. To absorb the spark's light, and in doing so, extinguish all that it represented. The crystalline titan, though imperfect, held a flicker of the original spark's intent: to protect, to endure. As the two entities clashed, the fluid realm warped and twisted, echoes of forgotten universes bleeding into the present. The shadow entity shrieked, a sound that scraped against the edges of sanity, as the crystalline titan's desperate defense found a momentary, unexpected strength. It was a surge of pure will, a defiance born from the precipice of oblivion. And then, in the heart of the maelstrom, a revelation. The shadow entity was not merely a corrupted void fragment, it was the embodiment of a forgotten fear, a primordial dread that predated even the void itself. And within its writhing darkness, a single, impossibly bright point of light pulsed, the spark, struggling to break free from its suffocating embrace. The predator's fear intensified, realizing the magnitude of its mistake. It had not unleashed a destroyer, but a prison. A prison that was now attempting to claim its most precious prisoner. The crystalline titan, faltering under the immense power of the shadow's embrace, saw the spark's desperate struggle. Its own imperfect form began to shimmer, resonating with the spark's nascent defiance. It understood. This was not about fighting the shadow, but about freeing the spark. The fluid realm began to solidify around the titanic struggle, the boundaries between existence and non-existence blurring. The spark, sensing its opportunity, unleashed a wave of pure, unadulterated creation, a burst of light that momentarily pushed back the suffocating darkness. The shadow entity recoiled, its form flickering as the spark asserted its will. But the cost was immense. The crystalline titan, overloaded by the opposing forces, began to crack, its structure fracturing. It had served its purpose, a momentary distraction, a shield. And in that moment of distraction, the spark made a choice. Not to fight, but to escape. With a final, blinding flash, it detached itself from the shadow's grasp, leaving behind a gaping wound in the fabric of the fluid realm. The shadow entity, enraged by its loss, turned its full, terrifying attention to the departing spark, its pursuit relentless. The crystalline titan, now a shattered husk, watched as the spark, a mere flicker of light, fled towards an unknown horizon. But as the shadow entity prepared to resume its chase, a new sound echoed through the fractured realm: a low, guttural growl. From the depths of the void, a silhouette emerged, vast and ancient. It was the cosmic predator, its form now radiating an aura of primal fury. It had been outmaneuvered, its grand design twisted into a nightmare. And now, it was coming for the shadow entity. The chase was no longer for the spark, but for the very soul of the cosmos. The spark, now a lone traveler in the infinite expanse, sensed the shift, the ancient rivalry reignited. It was free, for now. But the true war had just begun. And the question remained, could the spark, in its new, unformed state, survive the coming storm? Or would it too be consumed by the endless hunger of the void?